Hi, my name is Rick, and I used to own a lot of records. So come with me as I discover and rediscover vinyl.
Led Zeppelin II by Led Zeppelin.
Hi, today we're going to talk about this album, the second Led Zeppelin album, and definitely my favorite of all of the Led Zeppelin albums. Now, my review might be a little bit controversial today because, well, I am a fan of Led Zeppelin, but I'm only a fan up to maybe this album. After this album, I believe that Led Zeppelin kind of went in a weird direction and kind of lost their rock and roll and blues base. Led Zeppelin is probably known best for that song. You know, the song, that Stairway something or other. That song, Stairway to Heaven, has probably been played at every single high school dance across the country for as long as, probably from the time it came out for the next 20 years. It's that song where you're at the dance and you're trying to hook up with some girl and so you ask her to dance that last slow dance of the night, hoping to maybe make out a little bit and go home with a new girlfriend. This album far surpasses Led Zeppelin IV, which contains Stairway to Heaven. In my opinion, this is the best Led Zeppelin album ever made. I think after Led Zeppelin II, Led Zeppelin went kind of weird. They started playing all this folk music and got into some weird stuff. Led Zeppelin III has the Immigrant Song. Led Zeppelin IV has the Stairway to Heaven. It has Rock and Roll and Black Dog. And many people say that Led Zeppelin peaked at 4. I say they peaked at this album, number 2. This album was actually released at the end of 1969. I don't know when I was first exposed to it, but I was a little kid, maybe 5th or 6th grade, and I remember going to the Sunnyvale Public Library and checking it out. I'd been a fan of the first Led Zeppelin album. Communication Breakdown was fantastic. I remember playing it over and over and over, and I had actually picked up the album as a little kid, and I really, really liked it. My parents hated it, and that also helped make it a better record. I would turn it up really loud. So when I saw Led Zeppelin II at the public library, I checked it out for 2 weeks. And I brought it home and I played it over and over and over. And when my 2 weeks were up, I took it back to the library and I renewed it. And I played it for another 2 weeks over and over and over. And finally I went out and bought it. The album contains one of my favorite songs of all time, Whole Lotta Love, which I think is a classic of any classic rock playlist ever. It's got an awesome driving beat. It's just a great all-around rock and roll song. Led Zeppelin consists of Robert Plant on lead vocals, John Bonham on drums, John Paul Jones on bass guitar, and of course the famous Jimmy Page on lead guitar. The band's never changed. Throughout their entire existence, that was the solid core of the 4-member band. Many people say that they have a sound that they developed that's all their own. Let's look at that for a second. Whole Lotta Love is based around a 5-note riff that Jimmy Page had kind of taken directly from Willie Dixon's You Need Love. A lot of the lyrics were there too, and the band was sued for plagiarism. Eventually they settled out of court. The song was huge. They made tons of money. But not only were they sued for that song, we know, of course, later on after the 4th album, they were sued by several people for Stairway to Heaven. Now, they won the case Stairway to Heaven and said that it was not plagiarized, but this one they lost. They settled out of court and paid a lot of money to go ahead and keep that going. Another song on this album, the Lemon Song, is actually a rearrangement of a Howlin' Wolf song. Again, so it looks like Led Zeppelin's been kind of stealing a lot of music from the old blues guys. Their sound is really not their own, but really a modernization of some old blues. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's on this album.
The first song on the album is Whole Lotta Love.
Whole Lotta Love went on to be a number 5 hit in the United States. It also went on to become a classic rock staple. Anytime you turn on a rock and roll classic station, you're going to hear either this song or you're going to hear Heartbreaker sometime within the next hour. I think they actually get played on classic rock even more than Stairway to Heaven. The second song on the album, which is What Is Should and Should Never Be, was written primarily by Robert Plant. Kind of an song. The third song on the album is called The Lemon Song, and it's actually a rearrangement of Howlin' Wolf's The Killing Floor. Very standard blues number. Great song to listen to. The next song on the album is called Thank You, and it was written by Robert Plant as a love song to his wife. Jimmy Page played a 12-string guitar, and John Paul Jones actually played a Hammond organ on this track. Kind of an interesting thing. And this concludes side 1 of the album. Side 2 opens up with Heartbreaker, which was written by Jimmy Page, pretty much just to showcase his guitar skills. There's even an unaccompanied guitar solo in the middle of the song. This song rocks, and it automatically feeds into the next song, Living Loving Maid. So the story goes, Living Loving Maid was written about a groupie. The band hated the song and has actually never played it live. Robert Plant did play it live on a solo concert once in 1990, but the band just considered it filler and never really liked the song. The next song is Ramble On, and it's kind of based upon some J.R.R. Tolkien weird stuff. Anyhow, it's become a rock and roll staple also. It's a pretty good song to listen to. Once you hear it, you know it. The next song is Moby Dick, which was pretty much written just to showcase John Bonham's amazing drum skills. The drum solo is amazing on this song. Anyhow, if you're an aspiring drummer, this is what you want to listen to. So the last song on the album is called Bring It On Home, and it's actually a cover of an old blues song. Led Zeppelin took it and rearranged it and sped up some of the middle part, but it's definitely an old blues song. And that concludes the album. You crank this up, what do you think? I think it's a great classic rock and roll album. The controversial thing, I think Led Zeppelin peaked at this album. I think everything after it sucks. Led Zeppelin III, the Immigrant Song, Led Zeppelin IV, you've got that Stairway to Heaven song. You've also got everything after that, Physical Graffiti, Presence. I think those albums all kind of suck. I think they got too far away from their rock and roll core, from their blues core. They got into some weird mystical and folk music and weird crap. So a lot of people say that Led Zeppelin peaked at Led Zeppelin IV. I think they peaked at Led Zeppelin II. I think the first album is great. I think the second album is really great. Everything after, But this album, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up because I think it's a great rock and roll album. I like to turn it up loud and blast it really loud. Yeah, I know I'm immature, but I do it anyways. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Please ask for notifications so you'll know whenever I release a new video. And please subscribe. And if you don't like what I say, you have questions, please feel free to leave anything in the comments. I'm retired, so I got plenty of time and I will answer all comments or questions. Thanks. Have a great day.